Say the line, the oldest anarchy.
The oldest anarchy.
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 The oldest anarchy server in Minecraft.
2B2T is the oldest anarchy server in Minecraft, but is it truly anarchy? Ever since I made the History of Punishments video, many comments have debated whether 2B2T is a true anarchy server. One side would say that it isn't even anarchy, since the owner of 2B2T, Housemaster, had interfered by punishing players, building bases, and patching exploits. The other side says it is true anarchy, as admins and players can do whatever they want. Is there even a proper answer to this question? Well, today in this video, we'll be discussing each side's opinion, and even getting old players' thoughts to figure out if 2B2T is an actual true anarchy experience. So let's start with the argument that 2B2T is true anarchy. This opinion is often along the lines that if the definition of anarchy is no rules, that means there are no rules for Housemaster, allowing him to punish or do things as he pleases. This is also the case for players. If a player wanted to backdoor 2B2T, it's allowed, but that doesn't mean Housemaster can't take action. But there is also another view of true anarchy. If anyone could do whatever they wanted without repercussions, and Housemaster never interfered or punished players, the server wouldn't be functioning and would be unplayable because of lag machines alone. With no plugins, players would be still flying around, duping, exploiting, etc. Super weapons would be the norm in PvP. Chunk banning would never have been fixed, and there would be places throughout the world where entering them would result in the game crashing that would prevent you from ever joining 2B2T again. From this viewpoint, nobody would want true anarchy, as the game would be literally unplayable. The server is anarchy in that you can do whatever you wish within the confines of the server, but are still bound by the laws of Housemaster and its rules. Housemaster has to intervene to ensure that the game remains playable, but do old players think this viewpoint is correct? XCC2, an old player on the server since 2011 and a part of many ancient and newer groups, had something to say about true anarchy. This has been a complaint from 2B2T players since the server started. There were always players who hated anything that Housemaster did on the server. As soon as he touched something to correct a problem or improve performance, players would complain. For example, the game had problems rendering very complex chunks back then. At spawn, the constant flowing lava and water could cause a player's client to drop to 0 FPS and basically freeze their Minecraft. You had to close it and reconnect and hope to run out of the chunks fast enough before the client tried to render it all, or else it would freeze their Minecraft again. Housemaster would drain the water and lava or even flatten spawn, and right away, players complained. Another example is when players used to spawn at 0-0 and players would set up kill aura and camp there for days, slaughtering anyone who died or tried to join as a new player. Players would also cover 0-0 in lava and causing players to die instantly. Housemaster made it so blocks couldn't be placed within 25 blocks around 0-0, and when that didn't work, Housemaster randomized respawns farther from 0-0. Again, there would be complaints. Duping is rampant, Housemaster patches the dupe. Complaints. Speed flying for 1,000,000 blocks and generating new chunks so fast the server is choked? Complaints. Giant lag machines cause players to rubber band every 5 steps? Housemaster fixes it? Complaints. I feel that any changes that stop players from abusing the server mechanics do not mean the server is no longer anarchy. These changes are just necessary to maintain playability. Many players don't see it like this and scream that it's not anarchy after their toys are taken away. I did think that his deletion of the original the_end map was pretty heavy-handed. Even though we created the map with illegal blocks, the map didn't affect playability. Also, leaving the blocks that were backdoored would have been fine, and in the spirit of anarchy, it would have added to the anarchy. But the server is still as true anarchy as I believe can be allowed, and it's the same now as it always was, as far as I'm concerned. This leads us to the following argument that 2B2T is a mix of anarchy and another form of government. This viewpoint is along the lines that 2B2T is anarchy and that it's as anarchy as it can realistically be, but some of the rules Housemaster makes lead toward another form of government. Jacktherippa, another old player on the server since 2012, has been in many groups and built well-known bases like Space Valkyria and the lands. He has this type of viewpoint. I think it's as anarchy as it can realistically be. Is there a person or group with some leverage that can and will use it? Of course. However, anarchy is simply a state of no rules. Rules are voluntary, punishments are prepared for those who break them, but 2B2T is anarchy because there are no rules, just restrictions, things like anti-cheat, etc. However, being banned from buying priority queue is a gray area. After all, it's not a hard ban, but a soft ban of sorts. All in all, it's still anarchy, but in recent years it has flirted the line of a dictatorship. The last viewpoint is that 2B2T is not true anarchy, and could be considered a different type of government. Their argument is that Housemaster has made so many unnecessary modifications to patch dupes, exploits, and punish players, that it's no longer the oldest anarchy server in Minecraft, just an old server. On the 2B2T official subreddit, the description of 2B2T is a Minecraft server with the goal to never reset the world in a free-for-all, no-rules PvP environment with little modification to the vanilla survival game mode. Yet, in these past few years, Housemaster has made more and more modifications to the server. Modifications like game-breaking exploits, crash exploits, or lag machines are understandable. Still, the modifications were done to effectively kill travel exploits and dupes, and even priority banning players has gone too far. It directly affects the active player base to the point where it negatively affects the server and the community. When I made my video about the 400 priority bans a few months ago, the number slowly increased, and now it's getting close to 500 priority banned accounts. While Housemaster punishes players, or adds new patches or changes to the server, he never tells the player base, which often leads to confusion. The last time the player base got any update was 5 months ago for the 1.18 test server. Returning to what XCC2 said, players always complained about what Housemaster implemented, even when it was done for the server's overall benefit. Does this make 2B2T not true anarchy? Does Housemaster adding plugins and punishing players make 2B2T not true anarchy? Or does it make it true anarchy since the server is free from rules for you and even Housemaster? Could 2B2T be a combination of anarchy and another form of government, or is 2B2T not even anarchy? To be honest, I have no idea. I don't think there is a proper answer to this question, and many players don't care as long as they can still play on the server. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments if you believe 2B2T is true anarchy or not.